What chance do you give the Raptors to win this best-of-7 series?
I give them a good shot. They are the underdogs, but I give them a good shot. Stephen A., you know who Kawhi reminds me of right now? He reminds me of Hakeem Olajuwon as Olajuwon was peaking. And the reason I say that is this. Olajuwon was a great defender and a great offensive player. But what was missing from his arsenal early in his career was passing. You know, he was one of those bigs who you throw the ball in and ain't coming back out again. And Kawhi was very much like that for a lot of his career because he played for Popovich and he's considered unselfish and everything. I don't know if people are really aware of that. He really hasn't been much of a passer throughout most of his career. He's a guy who you can use as an offensive weapon and a defensive weapon. Well, he's now obviously growing in that department too. He's hooking up his teammates. He's using the defensive attention that he's getting to hook up his teammates. So, look, the Warriors have Steph and Klay and Draymond, who was this close to being a Finals MVP when they won 73 games, and Iguodala, who was a Finals MVP. And Kawhi doesn't really have a reliable all-star with him. He has a bunch of above-average players, but none of them you can say, boy, that's an all-star every year, the way Steph has Klay and Dre. And once upon a time, a guy like Iguodala, who under pressure is an all-star. And therefore, the Warriors are correctly going to be favored. But Kawhi, because of his fully mature game right now, because of the level at which he's operating and because they're deep and big, Stephen A., those offensive rebounds that the Warriors were bullying Portland with ain't going to be the same against the Raptors. I give the Raptors a good shot in this series.
What's your definition of a good shot, Max? Can you give me a percentage on that?
Well, I think it's going to be at least a 6 or 7 game series, and I would say the Warriors are even if less than 2-1. So I give the Raptors a 40% shot, something like that.
Yeah, I give it slightly less than that, but I'm up there. I give it slightly less. I give them an opportunity because I like the way that they're playing defense. And without the services of Kevin Durant to preoccupy Kawhi Leonard, that means whether you're Steph or Klay, that's somebody that you're going to have to deal with. And my assumption is that it'll be more so Klay than Steph Curry. Whoever moves without the ball less is the one that Kawhi Leonard is going to guard because you can't have Kawhi Leonard running around. I know they're going to have a few days rest. Please don't get me wrong. But Kawhi Leonard looked tired at certain points on Saturday. He looked absolutely spent, okay? And running around chasing Steph or Klay is not going to help him one bit be effective offensively. And so not having Kevin Durant, that's the biggest plus, that Kawhi Leonard gets to defend one of those two guys. And that's what's going to make this series interesting, which I think obviously elevates their chances. However, having said all of that, you know, I look at Toronto, and the reason why I don't give them, I'm talking about anywhere from 25 to 30% at the most. The reason why I don't give them any more of a chance than that, even though that still gives a possibility for them to win the series, is I really question their ability to make shots and to stop Golden State from making shots. I understand that their defense is stout. I understand that they jumped out from the interior to get out to the perimeter and really contest against those perimeter shots by Milwaukee. But the Milwaukee Bucks as shot makers are not the Golden State Warriors. They're not Klay. They're not Steph. All right, you even got guys like McKinney coming off the bench. Iguodala, spot up open threes that Danny Green couldn't hit the last couple of games where he shot like 0 for 7, if I remember correctly, for the game, and ultimately had to find himself on the bench because Van Vliet and those boys were making shots. Andre Iguodala ain't going to miss shots like that. I can tell you that right now. And so when you look at it from that perspective, I pay attention to that, and I say to myself, excuse me, if you can't stop Golden State from making shots, excuse me, that's going to be a problem for you because Toronto is going to have to defend like they never have before in order to win this series. You're not beating the Golden State Warriors by outscoring them. You're going to have to defend. And that is the thing I think that they're going to have a problem with because Milwaukee was missing a lot of open shots. A lot were contested, but they were missing a lot of open shots. The Golden State Warriors will not miss those.
First of all, of course, this whole debate is predicated on the idea that KD is not playing. If KD is playing, then the chances that the Raptors have of beating the Warriors is approaching 0. It's almost a 0.
I wouldn't say 0.
It's close to it. If you talk about Steph and Klay and Draymond with a healthy KD, not to mention Iguodala, he's just not going to beat that team. Yeah, with KD, I'm saying. So of course we're talking about without KD. It's too much. And we'll get to more about KD a little bit later on in the show. But in terms of what Toronto has that could bother Golden State, Stephen A., ever since, not this version of Bogut, but since they lost the original version of Bogut, they were a little susceptible to, to some size down low, right? Well, how's Mark Gasol, right? How's Serge Ibaka? Do they have size, Siakam? Do they have long guys and big guys who can take it down low on some of these Warriors players? Yes, they do. Do they have defense in that respect? Yes, they do. Yes, they're the underdogs because you have to say who is going to step up. Can Lowry be consistent? Can Siakam? We've seen him up and down. Can Kawhi Leonard get a reliable crime partner? Because Steph has Clay and Dre, right? If someone can step up as a reliable crime partner, then Toronto can win the series.
Okay, there's a lot of ifs there. I'm just telling you that.
That's why they're the underdogs.
Well, I just look at it and my thing is, can you get Golden State to miss shots the way you got Milwaukee to miss shots? That answer to me is no.